Hello and welcome to today's Daily Prelims Practice session dated 26 December 2022. In today's session, we will be dealing with certain MCQs related to the important topics which are in today's The Hindu Delhi edition as well as Indian Express. The important topics which are to be discussed have been displayed on the screen and the timestamping of the same has been provided in the description box below. Before starting our session, there is an important announcement for you. The people who are interested in PSIR optional test series are requested to go into the description box, click the link and find the relevant details. So now let us begin our today's session. So our first question is from The Hindu Daily Edition, which is in the context of C.A.G, which stands for Comptroller and Auditor General of India. The context of this very news article is that recently C.A.G has detected a large-scale anomalies in the updating of the NRC in Assam, and this exercise was monitored by Supreme Court of India. So as far as the context is concerned, obviously this context is not very much relevant, but this particular body, which is the C.A.G, is very important as far as the UPSC examination is concerned. All the constitutional bodies are relevant for prelims as well as mains. So, in today's session, we will be discussing the question related to C.A.G. Also, in UPSC 2012, the question has already been asked in relation to the C.A.G. So, go through these questions, have a look, and try to attempt this very question. We will be discussing the DPP question number 1. The question says that the provisions of the C.A.G's Duties, Powers and Conditions of Service Act 1971 mandates which of the following functions explicitly for Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So there are three statements given. Statement 1 says that audit of receipts and expenditure of the bodies or authorities substantially financed from the union or state revenues, including the government companies and corporations. Statement 2 says audit all the transactions of the union and of the states relating to the contingency funds and public accounts. Now, contingency fund is different from the consolidated fund. Difference should be clearly understood by you. However, as far as this statement is concerned, the word mentioned here is the contingency fund. So statement 1 and statement 2 are correct because these are the factual statements. The powers has already been given by this particular act to the C.A.G. Statement 3 says audit of the public partnership projects or joint ventures with only minority participation by the government agency without the approval from the president or governor. This statement is incorrect. The reason being, first, this is not explicitly mentioned in this particular act. Second, the power to the C.A.G has been given, but this power can be exercised by C.A.G only after the approval of the president or governor. So without approval, he cannot exercise this power. So you eliminate the statement 3 and get option C, 1 and 2 as the correct answer. As far as the answer to the previous set question is concerned, option B, that is 2 only, is the correct answer. Now moving to the second topic, which is from the context of judiciary. So this particular news has come in the context that recently a parliamentary panel was established and it has said that increasing the retirement age of the Supreme Court and High Court judges could extend the years of services of non-performing judges and might have a cascading effect with the government employees raising a similar demand. So that is why the crux of this is that recently there were certain proposals to increase the retirement age of the judges in the higher judiciary, but the parliamentary panel has shown the negative consequences of this very practice. Nevertheless, from the UPSC examination point of view, all the constitutional provisions which are related to the high courts as well as Supreme Courts is important. For example, in 2021 the question was asked related to the Indian judiciary. There were two statements given and you were to find the correct statement. So try to attempt this question. As far as the DPP question number 2 is concerned, here is the question. Consider the following statements. There are again three statements given. Statement 1 says the Constitution has not prescribed a minimum age for the appointment of High Court judges. Statement 2 says that like the Supreme Court, the Constitution provides for the provision for making a distinguished jurist as a judge of the High Court. Now this statement is incorrect. So you have to eliminate the options which are having 2 as one of their options. So B and D are eliminated. One is common and hence one is obviously correct. Come to the third statement. The Constitution mentions the retirement age of both Supreme Court as well as High Court judges. So yes, we know 62 and 65 are the ages for the retirement of the High Court and Supreme Court judges. This is mentioned in the Constitution and hence this is also a correct statement. Therefore, option C, 1 and 3 are the correct answers. As far as the answer to the previous year question is concerned, option A is the correct answer. Now moving to the third topic, which is from the environment section and is in relation to the river pollution. Now this particular news item mentions various categorization of the river pollution which is measured by the Central Pollution Control Board CPCB. And again, such type of bodies are very important, especially when these bodies have certain structure or mandate which is there to preserve our environment. And in this context, CPCB or the state pollution control boards or the national green tribunals, these are certain bodies which are very important. For example, in previous year the question was asked in the context of the comparison between the two bodies, that is NGT, National Green Tribunal, and CPCB. So give yourself a try and attempt this particular question. We will discuss the question number 3 for today's session. The question says that you have to consider the following statements regarding the criteria for categorization of the river monitoring location by CPCB. So there are 3 statements given. Statement 1 says Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1976 defines the level of wholesomeness to be maintained or restored in different water bodies of the country. This statement is incorrect because this particular act does not defines this particular thing. So act does not define it. So that is why this statement is incorrect. Statement 2 says that there is 5-fold classification to measure the river pollution starting from the category 1 to category 5. This statement is correct. Statement 3 says category 1 is classified as the good or fit for bathing river. This statement is incorrect. There are 5 categories starting from 1 up to 5, and the 5th category is considered as the good or fit for bathing river, and the category 1 is the most polluted part of the river. So category 1 reflects the highest pollution level and category 5 reflects the lowest pollution levels, and hence statement 3 is also incorrect. So therefore option C, that is 2 only, is the correct answer. As far as the answer to this previous year question is concerned, option B, 2 only, is the correct answer. Now this is DPP question number 4. Here the image of the newspaper article is not mentioned. I have not deliberately mentioned it because you could have directly seen that news item and then you could have directly answered this particular question because the heading mentioned that particular word. Right. So I am giving you the brief background that there was a place which was recently in news in the context of mining. So that is why the question is asked related to that particular place. And as we all know that industries, manufacturing, mining, all these sectors are very relevant when it comes to the UPSC Prelims examination. For example, in previous years, the UPSC has already asked the question related to certain mines and certain places. So you can go through this question and try to attempt it. The question for today is, you have to read this particular paragraph and then you have to identify that which of the following mentioned places this paragraph is talking about. So it says that there is a place which is located on the eastern Karnataka and southeast of the Tungabhadra reservoir. The place also has its historical relevance as it was the important place in the Hoysala history, and the songs of Sarpa Bhushan Shiva Yogi, a great mystic poet of Karnataka. Further, this place also has an old Shiva temple of Malleshwara in a fort. Further, from the economic perspective, this place also has rich iron ore mines. So option A is Bellari, option B Kudremukh, option C Bailadila, option D Chitradurg. So here option A Bellari is the correct answer. So nowadays such questions are very much witnessed in the prelims examination, the real examination, whereby you are given certain key facts or the characteristics of certain place. That place can be some beach, that place can be national park or wildlife sanctuary, that place can be of hill, that place can be mine areas. So you have to be very aware about these characteristics. Now try to remember one thing: whenever there is a complete paragraph given as a hint for some place, so always try to find out that particular information in which you are very sure. For example, let's say here it is mentioned that rich iron ore mine. So you have to see that out of these four options, which is that one place which is not an iron ore mine. In this particular example, obviously all the four are the iron ore mines. I have deliberately put it. But the thing is that you have to identify, you have to closely look all the important facts which are given in this paragraph. By this only, either you will be able to eliminate certain options or you will be able to select certain options. Coming to the previous question, the answer to this particular question is option D, that is 3 only. Now we shall discuss the last question, which is question number 5th. So again, this question is taken from the Indian Express, and the news which is there in today's Indian Express is in relation to the Corbett National Park, whereby a 32-year-old man was killed by a tiger in the Ramnagar Forest Division of the Corbett Tiger Reserve CTR. Now we all know that national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves are one of the favorite areas from which regularly the UPSC keeps on asking the questions in the prelims examination. For example, in the previous year, several questions have been asked. Here for the reference, I have taken one particular question which was in the context of India's desert national park. There were 3 statements given and you have to find the correct statement. So on the similar lines, the today's question is framed in such a manner. Question says, with reference to Jim Corbett National Park, which of the following statements are correct? Statement 1 says, it includes the species of sal, teak, oak, silver fir, spruce and bamboo. This is correct. Statement 2 says that Project Tiger was launched from this very place. Absolutely correct. And statement 3 says that river Ramaganga flows through this. Yes, again this statement is also correct, and hence option D 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Now an important point is, whenever you are studying the national parks, be very clear about the fact that whether there are certain important hills in those national parks, or is there any important river flowing through that national park, or any important species. So that's all for today. All the very best and study hard.